The DC tidal basin is famous for its cherry blossoms, but is that really the only place to see them? Hey team, cherry blossoms are one of the highlights of the DC area, but sometimes going into DC itself and fighting the crowds is just not high on your list. Thankfully, there are quite a few other locations that you can check out and get just as good of an experience. This week, let's look at some of the spots in Maryland. With Tacoma Park having the nickname of Azalea City, you might think that's all you'd be able to find, but there's so much more, including cherry blossoms. There are cherry trees spread throughout the town, but one of the best places to find them is along Flower Avenue. This avenue is an idyllic tree-lined street stretching along the northern border of town. Some of the absolute best cherry blossom viewing areas can be found on Flower Avenue between Jackson and Garland Avenues, as well as on the connecting Boyd Avenue between Jackson and Lincoln Avenues. In nearby Bethesda, you'll find the Kenwood neighborhood. The Kenwood neighborhood is another great place to spot cherry blossoms, all thanks to a local developer from the 1930s and 1940s planting a bunch of cherry trees to promote the neighborhood to potential home buyers. As a result of this planting spree, we now have the benefit of several blocks of gorgeous cherry blossoms. Additionally, these trees bloom a bit after the tidal basin trees, meaning that you can get an extra dose of cherry blossom viewing with just an extra trip outside the district. Just slightly further north in Wheaton, there are even more cherry blossom trees to be found in Brookside Gardens. Brookside Gardens is a 50-acre public garden in Wheaton Regional Park. Admission is free, and inside you'll find 26 cherry blossom trees located in the Good Garden near the pond, and there are also some more trees around the Conservancy. To help with planning, the trees in Brookside Gardens normally reach peak bloom around the 1st of April. The Glenstone Museum in Potomac is another great option for cherry blossom viewing, but to warn you before I get too in-depth, it can be really hard to get tickets. I checked to see when the next available entry is, and they're completely booked until May, and that's as far out as their ticket calendar goes. That said, in case you're way luckier than me and get tickets, the museum grounds are a great place to view some awesome cherry blossom blooms alongside other greenery and sculptures. Be sure to also check out the indoor museum even if your main goal is the blossoms. You might envision National Harbor as just a great shopping and food center, but alongside the Capitol Wheel, you'll also find 200 cherry trees. These cherry trees are the Okami variety, which I'm told means that they might just occasionally bloom a little sooner than some of the other varieties, which is great for you if you're looking for an extra early start to your cherry blossom viewing adventure. While you're there, be sure to check out the many different festival activities to include cultural events and culinary classes, among other things. What kind of activities would you be interested in? Let me know in the comments. Centennial Park in Ellicott City is a bit further out than you might expect to find cherry blossoms, but it's no less picturesque. The park contains 20 trees that are the first and therefore most mature cherry trees in all of Howard County's efforts to include more cherry trees across the county. The park is pretty great to wander through, but if you're looking for even more cherry trees, be sure to wander through nearby Old Ellicott City for even more cherry blossom awesomeness. Silburn Arboretum in Baltimore is well away from the tidal basin crowds, but it has just as much to offer in terms of cherry blossom viewing. The 200-acre Arboretum is an oasis in the city where you can wander the paths of the East Collections to get a good view of the weeping cherry trees. If you're a dog owner, the Arboretum may have additional appeal since they allow dogs to check out the blossoms as well as long as they're on a leash. Fort McHenry is famous for being the birthplace of the national anthem, but did you know they also have some pretty awesome cherry trees? In fact, they have 152 of them. The trees were planted in 1931 by Baltimore school children to commemorate the bicentennial anniversary of George Washington's birth. There are 2 groves at the monument, one on the east side and one on the west, as well as a number of trees along the mile-long seawall trail that goes around the park. Be sure to check out all of them for the full experience. Alright, so you are really insisting on going to the tidal basin cherry blossoms, maybe instead of or in addition to the places I talked about today, and I don't blame you. If you haven't already been, they're awesome and incredibly picturesque. That said, it can be a bit of a hassle to get there. Here are some quick tips to make your life a little easier when checking them out. Go early. Going early means you can miss most of the crowds, and you can also get some awesome pictures with the sunrise colors. Go late. This one doesn't always work, but there are plenty of times when you go later in the day. Think about the time when the sun is setting and the crowds have thinned out. Another perk of this time is that you usually get great light for photos. Go early during the week. A lot of people go at the end of the week or on the weekend. If you're able to, try to go as early in the week as possible. Take a cab, public transit, or a rideshare. Finding parking near the tidal basin can be a headache in and of itself, especially when you've got tour buses alongside just normal cars. Do yourself a favor and consider taking some sort of public transit, cab, or rideshare. Alright, so we've covered a lot of options for your cherry blossom adventures. What do you think? Did any of them speak to you? Let me know in the comments. If you're moving to the area and have more questions about it, be sure to watch some of my other videos and don't hesitate to send me a text or email or even just give me a call. In the meantime, please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video and want to see more like it.